Welcome back to Views with Hughes, Dinner News. This is Jerome Hughes, and Story of the Hour. Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker are basically still being trying to get canceled by, woke Hollywood, woke Disney, and everything. But the problem is they haven't been canceled yet. So this is also stemming from the BBC article and everything, where it's titled "Disney Defeats Critics After Bruising Battle," which came about earlier this month. So yeah. And all this was based from that whole proxy fight with Nelson Peltz as well as Bob Iger and everything. And that's something that, we've already gotten over, and thing is, well, I mean, if it wasn't for Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker and all of that, Disney wouldn't be losing so hard. Okay. So Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker are still being shamed by the woke Hollywood mob. And many are seriously tired of how movie fans like myself and the whole entertainment scene are getting slammed in the media and tagged as so-called extremists. And it's also crazy that we even have to go over this whole YouTube movie critic mess once again, but we're here again. All right. So basically we're gonna go ahead and expose how messed up this whole thing is against movie critics like, well, Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker. See, the article that I just showed you all showing how Disney has somehow won against movie critics and went on to actually unfairly tag critics, including Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic, and calling them right-wing activists or right-wing extremists. Now, lately, it seems like every other week, YouTube movie critics are often getting bashed left and right, and calling Nerdrotic as well as Critical Drinker political activists or any kind of extremists, but that's not the case at all. All they're trying to do is just point out when movies aren't well made or when they are made well, but when the storytelling just falls flat. And we're not about pushing, they're not about pushing any political or woke agenda of any kind. They're just calling it like they see it when the plot is horrible, when it's a mess, or the characters just doesn't make any sense. And the story doesn't add up either. It's also frustrating to see that this kind of mislabeling, because it actually distracts from the real issues that Nerdrotic and the Critical Drinker are trying to highlight in the film industry itself. Now, the main reason they keep calling Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker political activists and commentators is to make it look like they don't have a clue about what the actual story is or what the film is about. But particularly when it comes to guys like Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic. And Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic are one of the top dogs in the whole movie on critic world, at least when it comes to YouTube. But when they brush them off by claiming they're all about politics, don't really analyze the films for the storytelling quality or artistic depth. Okay. But the thing is, Critical Drinker as well as Nerdrotic focus on the political message they say. But here's the actual deal. Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic are likely much better writers than a bunch of these Hollywood script writers, yet they completely overlook that. Now, instead, they keep trying to paint their work as some sort of right-wing fanatics and stuff, and they're just trying to undermine their critiques and ignore the fact that Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker know their stuff and call out the movies on their actual merits or the lack thereof. All right, now, and also think that it's time that we talk about the trend of bashing movie critics like Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker and slapping labels like political extremists on them, isn't really a good idea. See, they're not really pushing any political agendas and stuff. They're just simply talking about the movies, plain and simple. Now, let's say that, a movie comes out and the whole selling point is the movie has a political angle or some deep message. But no deep message, but the actual movie making, like the script and the effects and the shots and how it flows, are terrible. And it's Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker's duties to actually point it out. Now, Nerdrotic and the Critical Drinker got to be honest and say things like, sorry, but this movie's not good. The characters are just too flat. The special effects are just poor. The scenes are also poorly shot. And the whole thing just keeps dragging on, all right? Nerdrotic and the Critical Drinker are here to actually critique the movie from all angles. And it's not just echoing its message. So when a film doesn't really deliver on the basics, you can actually guarantee that Nerdrotic and the Critical Drinker are going to actually call it out. But Look, when I actually talk about movies, Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker have to focus on the filmmaking and the story right away, okay? Right from the jump. And politics should come way after that. All right. Now, if Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker are, if they just obsess over the politics of a movie, they're actually be missing the point of their job. And take all of the big studios like Disney, or even Marvel Studios. Okay, for example. Now, they're not hitting the mark because of the fact that they're actually prioritizing their political messages over the actual story that they should be telling, okay? And if you think about it, it's actually ironic where some media outlets are quick to point fingers at critics like Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker, accusing Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker of being all political, but in reality, it's actually these movies themselves that's actually drawing in people or drawing in their own political agendas. Now, they're letting those agendas drive the whole story, which messes up their storytelling or shows that they don't have any story to tell at all. I mean, that's not how it should work. The story should come first, plain and simple. So there's actually no way you could fairly call Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker some kind of right-wing extremist, okay? They're actually pretty straightforward and straight up and about holding everyone to the same standards, no matter which side of the aisle that Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker are on. But example, the main idea of certain movies is that, they have to have a great story to tell, okay? But here's the thing. There's shows out there like South Park that are pretty good at showing both sides of a story. They'll poke fun at the craziness on both ends. Sort of laying it all out there, and, when they wrap it up in a way that, sort of meets in the middle. But, a lot of other movies don't really do that. But instead, they take a one-sided view and drives it up to the max, all right? So, yeah, Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker try to give their, fair shake of both sides of the argument. But it seems like the woke media out there just keeps focusing on one angle, where they try to keep framing Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker like they're just stirring up a lot of political drama, not actually showing any critique of the real issues in the films. All right. Now, think about the movie critics as your money-saving buddies, if you will. Before you try to spend money on tickets and stuff and buy popcorn, only find out the movie is a guaranteed flop. Now, these YouTube critics like Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker have already scouted it out for you, okay? They watch the movies, spill the beans on what's hot and what's not, and if they say that if the movie stinks, you could just go ahead and skip the movie theater altogether and catch it on streaming when it drops, or not even watch it at all. But that's if you want to even bother at that point. But it actually saves a ton of people like millions from wasting hard-earned cash on a lousy film. But that's not just about trash and bad ones. It also works the other way around when it comes to good movies. Now, when a movie critic like Nerdrotic and a Critical Drinker actually find a gem, they basically rave all about it, right? They don't even they don't even spoil it for you, okay? They'll hype it up big time, and what happens? Everyone's going to get pumped and anxious and go ahead and rush to see it. And that means there's more people hitting the theaters, more tickets sold, and there's like a lot of buzz that helps support the movies that actually deserve it. And basically, it's a win-win situation if you think about it. But the good movies get the love that they deserve, and the bad ones don't drain our wallets, okay? It's that simple. That's why critics like Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker are so crucial. They're not just about being all nitpicky and stuff, with pointing out on just the bad and stuff. They're actually looking out for us and stuff, making sure that our movie-going experiences are actually worth the money. Okay, so when movie critics do their jobs like Nerdrotic and, Critical Drinker, it's actually a win-win situation. But they're not being harsh for no reason. They're actually looking out for us, the regular folks who don't want to waste our hard-earned cash on a bad movie. And here's why it matters. Try pretending you're a filmmaker and everything, or if you own a big studio. Even if a film flops at the box office, you're already gotten your paycheck, right? So whether the movie's a hit or miss, you're covered. But the regular people like myself and you going out to these movie theaters and stuff, I mean, we're spending our own money hoping for a couple of hours of good entertainment. And especially with today's economy, nobody wants to feel like they waste their money and everything. So when Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker actually slam a movie, For sure, it might cause the film to lose millions in ticket sales, but maybe it's a good thing because it actually forces the studios to go ahead and step their game up and try not pushing out low effort movies. So I'm gonna ask y'all this question: who really needs more protection here? Is it the big corporate wigs at these movie studios as well as production companies who made the movie and got their cash no matter what, whether the movie makes money or it flops, or the regular moviegoers like you and me who actually earn every dollar and try to keep it and need it to count? Now, it's actually clear. It's us viewers, the fans, who actually need someone to actually watch out for us, making sure that we're spending our money wisely, especially when times are tough like right now. That's why honest, tough film reviews, especially from Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker, are more than just opinions. They're actually necessary that keeps the industry honest and our wallets a bit fuller. So the big reason why movie critics are super important, they're here to actually keep the film industry on its toes, plain and simple. And honestly, I wouldn't be so mad if at Disney for dropping off some flops and everything if I didn't know for a fact that they could do way better. Okay. Now, Disney has knocked it out the parks in the years past and stuff. But lately, they gave us a bunch of flops and stuff instead of the classics that blew our minds and stuff. And at times where they proved that they could spin a great yarn and craft some good art. But it seems to me like they've forgotten how to make a good movie. Now, when they put something out there that's just bad, it really gets under a lot of people's skin because these are fans and stuff from the childhood and everything, whether it be from animation onto live action movies and stuff, even like the things they put out on Disney Channel. I mean, nowadays, it seems like they forgot who their customers are, and it's the parents, okay? Not just the parents, but also a few older millennials as well. And if you also think about it, there's like a lot of younger people who don't really care about the current films and stuff that they have to offer out there. Now, think about like back to the Black Panther and the whole Avengers saga, okay? Those were actually pretty good. But when they mess up, it's not just a letdown. It actually got us angry because it feels like they're not even trying to use their incredible abilities to make the diverse quality films they used to make. That's why they keep getting hammered by people like Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker. Just to remind them and everyone else that they can and should bring their A game every time. Especially with the budgets they put out there. But at the end of the day, good art can change the world for the better. And that's the big deal. So you won't catch me saying sorry for expecting a lot for movies and everything and not just settling for anything that's thrown together. Because right now, there's just too much sloppy filmmaking going on, okay? And if you want to put out a movie the same as some films like Empire Strikes Back and stuff, you got to give it everything you got and to make the movie the best it can be, all right? And I also can't stand it when movies take really cheap political tricks to sell themselves, okay? Just doesn't work for me or any of us and stuff, or even movie critics like Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker, to be honest with you. And they take their jobs seriously and put the politics to the side for a second. And what we should be focusing on in the film industry are the essentials: how good a story is told, how good cinematography is, and whether the actors are giving strong performances or not, and how the characters are developing all throughout the movie, okay? Those are simply just the core elements of those films, all right? So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Also, be sure to include any additional thoughts you might have on this particular topic. If you enjoy sharing this video, go ahead, smash the like button, and share far wide across social media. And if you haven't done so already, and you enjoy all the content I put out there, go ahead, subscribe to the channel, click the bell notification, so that way you'll be notified of future uploads and updates. Until then, peace.